In this video, I'm going to show how I made this recipe board out of some scrap material. So I'm going to take these scrap pieces and measure out, because these scraps have checks in them, and I don't really feel comfortable with making these a food prep surface. I'll take and I'll fill those with epoxy, and then I will use this as a Christmas gift. So I've got a little bit of snipe here on the ends from where I ran this through the planer. So I'm going to measure out how much usable spot. So I'm almost 11 inches here, and with about 2 inches of snipe on this end, I want to have about a 4-inch handle. 2 inches here, mark it on the maple so that I can see it. You can come out here to 13 to make it square, and that should do it. So then I'll take my square, measure this out, make me a line across here, and then a line for the handle. Alright, so then I want some round corners. This looks like a good shape for a corner. So I'll use the edge of my Forstner bit to give me that rounded profile. Now with all my markings, I will take everything over to the bandsaw and cut out the rough shape. Next, I need to lay out the slot for the support leg. I want the slot for the support leg to be about 1 inch from the bottom. So I'm going to use my 1, 2, 3 blocks. I'll set one with the edge, and then I'll set one on the edge lined up with that block to line up the support leg. Then I'll mark around it, and then I'll take it over to my drill press, where I'll use a 3/4 inch Forstner bit to drill a hole on either end of the slot. Next, I'll put a 3/4 inch straight bit in my router table. I'm lowering this down to about 1/8 of an inch because I'm going to remove this material over a few passes. If I try to remove too much in one pass, then I run the risk of either burning the material or causing some serious kickback. So I'll place one of the holes over the router bit so that I can use it to line up my fence. Then, with my fence set in place, I will set some stop blocks to keep from routing out the groove too far. Well, so much for not having any kickback. That wasn't very smooth at all. Just imagine what it would have been like if I would have had the full depth of that bit in that material. So now I'll raise the bit and make a few more passes until I get all the way through. And now it's time to work on the support leg. Now, to keep the support leg from falling through, and to work as a lip to keep recipes from falling off this, I'm going to glue a board to the front of this. But before I glue anything together, I'm going to take an 1/8 inch roundover bit and round over all the edges. Because once I get this put together, I won't be able to get the router bit in the spot where I need it. I'll use the setup block to measure the height, and then I will start the routing process. Then I will add a little bit of glue, spread it out, put some clamps on it, and set it aside to dry. Now I'll mix up some 2-part epoxy to use to fill the voids in the checks that I found in this lumber. After the epoxy has had some time to set up, then I will take my sander and go through and sand it down flat. I will continue sanding until I get all the way through the grits and I'm ready for finishing. And speaking of finishing, I use a hand rub polyurethane. Now I typically will just take some and pour some out on a paper plate, and then I'll use a rag to make sure that I wipe down all the surfaces and get a nice even coverage. Once a coat has had time to dry, then I will take a piece of 600 grit sandpaper and I will go over every surface, giving it a good scuff sand before applying the second coat. But before applying that second coat, I will use a piece of tack cloth to go through and remove any of the dust to keep it from getting in the finish. And finally, I will apply a good second and final coat. Since this isn't going to take a lot of abuse like a tabletop or a desktop, I'm only going to apply 2 coats. I feel pretty good with just having 2 coats on this, since it's just going to be holding recipes, tablets, phones, and those kinds of things. And there you have it, a simple recipe stand for the kitchen made from scrap material from the shop. If you haven't done so already, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.